And joining us right now, the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Jeez, where's my notepad of all the things?
Oh, okay.
Ooh, let's see. Today, I'll say. From Little Caesars Pizza, Devan Kaney joins us. What's up, Devan?
Little Caesars Pizza. Yes, I love it. So the NFL got a hold of you too, like they did with Nick Sirianni.
They pulled me in. And they said,
They're like, no, you can't mention Pizza Hut anymore. Sorry.
From WIP, Jacob Media. I always love hanging out with her and talking to her. Devan Kaney joins the show today. Devan, what is your mood right now? NFL Championship weekend, NFL Championship Sunday. How you feeling?
I feel a little bit like, I don't know the word, conflicted. Might be a good word for a couple reasons. I think I'm in denial. Like, it just hit me today that the Eagles are playing in the NFC Championship game. And like by Sunday night, we'll know if the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl or not. And that kind of freaks me out. But I am very optimistic, and that makes me nervous because it's the Eagles that we're talking about. And this team has been dominant for the most part throughout the entire season, coming off an extremely dominant performance, going up against probably the best team that they've played all season. And yet I'm not too nervous, and that makes me worried.
Wow. Okay. Now you freaked me out.
Because I know. I'm sorry.
Now I don't believe necessarily in like anxiety being contagious. I more have, I think what my family terms agita more than anything. But when it comes to this particular setup, what the scene you have just said is that we are right now, like Sunday this weekend, we will have on the line our mood for at least the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's either 2 weeks of like, oh, wow, we enjoy a bye week now, and we lead up to the Super Bowl, and then we drive ourselves crazy with that Super Bowl. And then, oh, my God, if they play the Super Bowl, every play will be etched in our brains just like 5 years. Oh, my God. Okay, I'm freaking out. Where's my inhaler? I don't know where it is.
Right? So I'm sorry that I'm the cause of that spiral that you just went down, but like it is kind of freaky to think about. Like, we'll know the fate of the Philadelphia Eagles by Sunday night. And something that's interesting that is at least a new experience for Eagles fans, and Mark, you can either confirm or deny if you share this same thought. Having such a great season and a dominant performance, and Jalen Hurts playing like the MVP, and the team just being incredible and so fun to watch, puts a lot more pressure on them, because now if you don't win the Super Bowl after the season that they had, in my opinion, in a way, it feels like a little bit like a loss, like kind of just, well, what was that for? Like, was it all for nothing? And I know that that's not like they've already accomplished so much, but it does up the ante a bit.
Yeah, you're right. It's like that 2017 season in the 2018 playoffs. It was almost like, well, we don't have the MVP quarterback. Hey, so whatever we get out of this is great. And then they got a Super Bowl. And now it's like you have an NFL caliber, or excuse me, an MVP caliber quarterback under center right now. You should win this.
Exactly. Like that was kind of like, okay, can they do it with Nick Foles? Like, I don't know, but it gave you a fallback. It's almost like the Phillies being in the World Series. Yes, it still really stunk to watch them lose the World Series, but it was like, they aren't even supposed to be here. So I'll take it. I'll enjoy this ride, where this ride is kind of like, okay, they've done so well. Now they better capitalize on it.
You know what you just did? You and I just like, I just have, you're a stranger. I sat next to you on the roller coaster, and I like gave you a hello, and you just kind of a little nervous. And then right before the ride started, you look over and you go, sometimes these seatbelts don't work. That's how I feel. What the hell? Like, that's how I feel right now. So thank you for that.
Sorry. I'm like the person on a flight who, like, you're like, oh, I'm not afraid of flying. They look over at you and they're like, these things crash sometimes. Some of them haven't been tested in years. And you're like, oh, okay.
Were we really meant to fly? What? Anyway. What I love about this week is that I think we've talked about everything with this football team and what they do well, with the few things that they don't do well. We've talked about the San Francisco 49ers, how great their defense is. Brock Purdy having an incredible, helping this team on the 12-game winning streak that they are, San Francisco. It's amazing. Nick Bosa, we've talked about the past, everything. It's now shifted to being about the fans here in Philly. Jonathan Gannon talked about it the other day. Of course, Jalen Hurts talked about it. Nick Sirianni talked about it yesterday. Like, all these people have talked about the fans. It's now become a subject in San Francisco as well. Deebo Samuel said, it's not that big a deal. Everyone's rowdy, whatever. Well, I don't know if he wants this smoke. But now I just want to ask you this, because you grew up here. You grew up a Philadelphia fan. Do you have a memory that you can share with us that makes you think back, like when you think back to your childhood or going to games, whatever it might be, it makes you think, oh, wow, that's the moment that I realized Philly kind of hit maybe different than other cities hit?
There are almost too many to choose from. I'm trying to think of there truly have been so many incredible moments. And what stands out to me almost like my immediate thought when you asked that question actually wasn't a game I went to in Philadelphia. It was when I lived in Chicago. Oh. And I lived in Chicago on the 2018 Eagles Super Bowl run. I literally flew home to watch that game, but this was before the Super Bowl. I would go to an Eagles bar with my one girlfriend who was also from the area. And we we weren't even that close. She was just like kind of an acquaintance from college. And we were the only two Eagles or Philly sports fans we knew in Chicago. So her and I would just like tear up the town when I really played. And we went to this Eagles bar and it would be packed to the brim. Like we would have to reserve a table week in advance when like they wouldn't open up reservations until a week in advance. We get our table and it was mayhem during that Super Bowl run for the Eagles. And there would occasionally be a few like maybe Bears fans, even though I'm pretty sure the Bears were out at that point, but like still just being obnoxious, like wearing a jersey. And they would just get destroyed if they tried to say anything to any Philly fan. And I remember I have a specific moment. It was, we were in the bar watching them crush the Vikings. And some guy like came up to me and like tried to talk to me and I didn't have to say anything. Some Eagles fan next to me is like, hey, buddy, get away from her. There are definitely more like expletives thrown in there, but like we stand up for our own. And I remember in that moment, I was like, God, I love being from Philadelphia. Like, we are, I don't know if I'm allowed to say assholes. We are a-holes, but we protect our own. And that's what I love about Philadelphia. We always stand up for our own.
I love the fact that it's like just an acquaintance that you would hang out with at a bar. It's like if you travel abroad and you all of a sudden meet another American, you're like, oh my God, you know, that kind of thing. Right. That's awesome. And I'm sure in Chicago, look, they got passionate fans in Chicago. It's not like they don't. And I've been out there many times. And anytime you get to go to have a, I guess, non-home team experience like that, it's something you certainly cherish. Yeah. Now, I will ask you this. You feel good. You feel like the next 2 weeks are going to be really interesting here, no matter what, either really happy, really full of anxiousness or whatever. But when it comes to this game, I know you're feeling a little confident going in this one. I am as well. How do you think the Eagles perform on Sunday?
Hopefully well. It's definitely going to be a much bigger and harder battle than they had against the Giants, which, look, I'm not saying that I wish that the Giants game was harder for the Eagles, but it in a way makes me more nervous them coming off such a dominant performance because it's not necessarily let's go back to the drawing board. You know, let's fix these mistakes that we made because the Eagles really didn't make any mistakes. That being said, a big reason I love Jalen Hurts, as we've talked about, Mark, so often, is his mental toughness and how competitive he is. And you know that he's never going to sit back and be like, oh, we got this. It's easy. It's going to be a good game. Am I scared of the 49ers? No, not necessarily. I think that the matchup is going to be a really good one. Their run defense versus our run offense, rush offense, our defense against Kittle and Debo and McCaffrey. It's going to be a good one. And I just want Brock Purdy to want to pee in his pants as soon as he walks into the link. I want Brock Purdy to finally experience what a real hostile environment is like.
Have you been hanging around Seth Joyner a little bit more than just like when I see you?
I've been spending too much time with Seth Joyner lately, clearly. If I start yelling at Gannon to blitz more, then you know I need to like take some time away from Seth Joyner.
But by the way, I have to ask you this question because I heard a vicious rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. But okay, this part is not the rumor. You and I, 2 nights ago with Seth Joyner for the Jacob Media people, we were out there at Jeff D'Ambrosio, right? Jeff D'Ambrosio himself walks over and hands me this big bag. And he's like, hey, thanks for coming out. And it's the biggest gift bag, swag bag I've ever seen. Inside's like a nice jacket, a keychain, a couple of knickknacks, whatever. What was in your bag, Devin, if you don't mind sharing?
It was the nicest gift bag. I honestly had been meaning to reach out to Jacob to ask them to like give me the contact info so I could thank Jeff D'Ambrosio. It was like a really nice Orvis jacket. Definitely had a car keychain. I'm like, oh, no car, but like still a keychain.
You're expecting a key on it and be like, hey, step outside, Devin.
Like, wow, a car. Thanks, guys. And a hat. Why? Is there a cap here? Did you have like a little surprise in yours? Or?
No, I did not have a surprise. Okay, good. Okay, so that makes me feel a little bit better because the equivalent for me, I guess, would have been a nice suit. Somebody told me he got you a dress.
No way.
Okay. I'm just saying. Somebody
look,
maybe
I could have taken the wrong bag. We don't know.
Right now, Seth Joyner's home going, what the hell?
I can just imagine Seth Joyner opening up a bag with a dress. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Wait, give it to my lady? What the hell is it? I think I got the wrong bag.
Meanwhile, I'm like, wow, this is such a nice jacket. I'm going to use it all the time.
I thought the same thing. I looked at it. I was like, this is perfect. I need a new dad jacket. This is the perfect dad jacket.
It is a dad jacket, but I will absolutely wear it.
Oh, my God. Yeah. You kidding me? Absolutely. Okay. All right, so back to reality then. So that vicious rumor has been dispelled. All right, we've talked about Jalen Hurts now. This is a difficult thing, I think. What is the best part from this season that has nothing to do with Jalen Hurts? What's the best part of this Eagles season? Now, we've talked a lot about Jalen Hurts' improvement and his mental toughness and everything. But when you think about this Eagles team, after Jalen Hurts, what's the next best thing we've discovered about this football team this past season, regular season and playoffs?
I have a corny alert before I.
I can't wait now. This is the perfect setup. Go ahead.
It's been watching the magic and chemistry around this team just build throughout the season. You know, I look back to that 2017-2018 Super Bowl winning team, and they just had that it factor where you can tell when a team is enjoying themselves, when they're having fun out there, you know, when they're having fun at practice. And like this team put a Christmas album together. They just seem like they're having a blast. They brought out Batman masks on the sidelines earlier in the season. Whenever they show them, Nick Sirianni gets so fired up because he's so passionate and cares so much. And I know some people have problems with that. I love it. I love how dialed in, and focused, but in tune this team is with each other. They just seem like they're clicking and they're having so much fun out there, and it's been so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. That's no, I agree. I think the chemistry on this team is phenomenal. It really does remind me of the 2017 team. And I think with that chemistry, I think it leads into how they're able to always stay focused throughout the season. And that to me has been the biggest thing other than Jalen Hurts, because he is actually a big part of that focus that they have for every single team. Even when they were undefeated, they were acting like they haven't done anything. And you could argue that, yeah, they hadn't. They'd won a bunch of games. They'd been the last team to be undefeated in the NFL. Their first team to clinch a playoff spot in the NFL. And I remember I was at Jason Kelsey's underdog event at the Bach Bar, right? The rooftop bar, the Bach Bar, right? And A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts showed up at the exact same time I did. So we both checked. Well, I don't think they checked in. I checked in. They just kind of walked in. But they were standing behind me. They were gracious enough to like get in line, which I thought was hilarious. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh, hey, guys, hey, congrats on the record. Keep it coming. And they looked at me like, yeah, we haven't done anything, but thank you. And I'm like, my man, good enough. Good enough.
Yeah. Well, and whenever you saw Jalen Hurts' victory speeches in the locker room after games that they were all winning because they were undefeated, he was always saying, we still left stuff out on the field. We still left stuff out. Like, we can celebrate for now, but we still have stuff to work on. And I love that. And that's why, even coming off that completely dominant performance over the Giants, I do trust that Jalen Hurts is still going to go back to the drawing board and keep working to face their next opponent. The guy is just a winner. He's so hungry to win. He's competitive, and I love that.
All right. This is a tough question, but I have to ask it. If you were to have a beer with Doug Peterson or Nick Sirianni, who are you having that beer with? And this is no chugging, you infamous chugger, you. This is enjoying a delicious beer. You're enjoying it, and it's a conversation. You're hanging with this person. Is it Nick Sirianni or is it Doug Peterson?
Nick Sirianni. Definitely Nick Sirianni.
Really?
That man has grown on me. And even throughout last season, he did. Like, Mark, remember I think everyone ripped him when he gave that fertilizer flower speech. And I think the Eagles' record since then is like really good. I don't know the exact number, but obviously this season's really good. Yeah. But even throughout the rest of last season, I love his passion. I love how competitive he gets. What really stood out to me, I don't know if you read Darius Slay's story article. I don't know what you want to call it, like mini kind of bio story that he wrote for the Players Tribune. But
I did not. I love the Players Tribune. I'll have to check it out.
It's really good. I think he published it, or the Players Tribune published it last week. And he praised it. He has really high praise for Nick Sirianni and how the guys just love him. And he is a coach that is tough, but he genuinely loves and cares about the locker room. And I know I'm strained from chugging a beer or drinking a beer, but I think that is really important. And that's probably a big factor why this team, as I mentioned earlier, seems like they're having so much fun and genuinely loves each other. I also just love listening to Nick Sirianni's press conferences. And I don't remember the last time I said I loved listening to a press conference. Like, no offense to Rob Thompson, but listening to a Rob Thompson press conference or a Doc Rivers press conference versus a Nick Sirianni press conference, like, they're not dropping little jokes in there. They're not talking about Pizza Hut or Little Caesars. So he just seems like a fun guy. And his kids are really cute.
That's a big factor. That's a big factor, of course, right there. That's interesting you say that. I think if you were to have a beer with either of those gentlemen, Nick Sirianni would be the guy that you could just sit there and hang out and he'd talk. Yes. Doug Peterson, I feel like you'd be out there and you'd be the one talking, despite like asking him questions about, hey, remember the time you won the Super Bowl? That was cool. Like that, like he would be like a 5-word answer type of guy. And I think Nick would be the guy who'd be like, oh, no. You can take a breath. I'm gonna be telling you about Mountain Union. Today, did you see, or I should say yesterday, they asked Nick Sirianni about, hey, this is the best team, most talented team you ever coached? And he goes, coached? Because at Mountain Union, we had a lot of talented teams. I'm like, nobody is talking about your D3 college experience. But that's part of what makes him lovable. I love that. And yeah, Nick Sirianni would definitely be the type of guy who's like, so tell me about yourself. And then 5 seconds later be like, oh my God, there's something shiny on the wall. And just like start talking about it. You would get 3 words. He'd be like, that reminds me of the time I was 13 and I was playing football with my brother. Exactly. I get what you're saying. No, it's totally accurate. All right, Devin. All right. We've established the feelings. We've established that we got some confidence going here. We've established that the next 2 weeks are going to dictate a lot of agita in my world, okay? And your world as well. What kind of agita? Will we be excited because the Eagles won this game against the 49ers? If so, what kind of game was it? And do you see the Eagles obviously in the Super Bowl, which that question kind of gets answered with the first one. But how you feel about this game, and do the Eagles win it? What's your prediction?
I am feeling good. It pains me to say because I'm just such like I don't want to say pessimistic, cautiously optimistic Philly sports fan. I feel good about this game. I think it's going to be obviously closer than their last game, but that's not really hard to do. Do I think that it's going to be won by a field goal? I don't know. Maybe it's won by 7 points. I think my prediction when we were at Jeff D'Ambrosio was like 28-21, and I still kind of stick by that. But I do think the Eagles will win. They have the advantage at quarterback. They have the home field advantage that, despite what a lot of people are saying, I do think will help them, especially with a rookie quarterback like Brock Purdy, who's only played in, I believe, 2 away games. I guess Seahawks could be counted as a hostile environment, but not like Philadelphia in a playoff game in the NFC Championship game. I think the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. I really do. What about you?
I'm right there with you. My feeling going to this game, and I expressed it earlier in the show, but my feeling about this game is that I think this is either going to be a huge win by the Eagles or an awful loss. I know just losing the NFC Championship game is awful, but I mean, like, I have the feeling in this game a fraud is going to be exposed. Like, I have the feeling that San Francisco 49, and I think it's going to be the Eagles that are not exposed, that they're doing the exposing of the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy, the clock striking midnight on that Cinderella story. But I feel like something is going to happen that shocks us. And I think it's going to be the Eagles on the positive end of that. And I've been saying 24-20 pretty much all week. I think this could be a 35-20 type game. I mean, I saw Patrick Mahomes put up 44 points on this defense. I think Jalen Hurts and this offense could do the same thing on that San Francisco defense. So that's what I'm looking at in this game. I'm looking at a dominant performance. Maybe it's 31-14 in the late stages, and they get a last-second touchdown, whatever it might be. But I feel like the Eagles are going to be in the driver's seat throughout this game, and I think they win convincingly over the 49ers. That's where I'm at right now. So Adria be damned. We're going to enjoy the hell out of the next couple of weeks.
You know what? I'm really glad that you said that, because I don't think I've said once throughout the season, maybe when they played the Steelers, that they would like beat them by a lot, or the Texans. But I do have a weird feeling that it might be another pretty big win or an absolutely horrible loss. Like you worded that perfectly. Hopefully it's on the positive side though for the Eagles. We'll see.
I hope so as well. And I apologize for just getting that hearsay that it was a dress in that gift bag. Maybe it was somebody just being sarcastic. Maybe it was somebody being sarcastic. I don't know.
Look, I mean, Seth, if you're listening and you have my dress, I'm happy to take it, but I'm not giving you your jacket.
I just love the idea of Seth. Just what the hell? Like, I need that picture. Devan Kaney, always great catching up with you. It's funny. So last night, talking to you tonight. I'll see you at the Wings Friday night. And when we air this tonight, they'll retire Kevin Finneran's number. You'll be there, of course. Is it an ESPN game then? Is ESPN doing the game?
That's a good question.
Do you not know who you're working for tomorrow night, or did they just hand you a mic flag and say?
Yeah, I literally find out by the mic flag that's sitting on my little desk in the dungeon in the Wells Fargo Center that I sit at. ESPN today, cool.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Last week's game, really quick. I had no idea it was on NBC Sports Philly until someone sent me a screenshot of the TV that they were watching at a bar, and I was like, "Oh, we're on NBC Sports Philly today. Cool." Didn't know that.
That's it. See, they tell us nothing.
Yeah.
And I'll see you Sunday for Jacob Media down there at Ocean Casino. We'll be bringing them all action. You and I will do the halftime hit, and we'll be on our merry way. I'm hoping I can drive back in time for an Eagles celebration on Broad Street. Maybe I could join you guys live from Broad Street and bring you hopefully some celebrating Eagles fans.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll be jealous if you get to do that. That's like the one downside of being in AC. But hopefully we're celebrating.
Womp, womp. How do you think I feel? I live in the suburbs now. No, all right, we're not going there. Anyway, Devan Kaney, always great catching up with you. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you on Sunday as well for the biggest game of Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and the whole damn shebang, the whole crowd. It'll be awesome. Devan, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.
Absolutely. Devan Kaney joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line.